All right, so in a world just jam-packed with flashy, headline-grabbing AI, what if the most revolutionary tool was one you've barely even heard of? Today, that's what we're going to dig into. We're looking at Google's NotebookLM and why its quiet success, well, it might just tell us everything we need to know about the future of AI.
Okay, just think about this for a second. Really let it sink in. You've got the simplicity of Google Docs, right? Then you have the crazy conversational power of something like ChatGPT. And on top of that, a personal assistant that knows your stuff better than you do. What would you get if all of that came together?
Well, that baby would be Notebook LM. And look, this isn't just another AI tool to add to the pile. No, it's a completely different way of thinking about AI. And that's exactly why this dedicated group of users are calling it their secret weapon.
So, what is the secret? What makes it so different? Well, it really all comes down to a couple of core principles that totally flip the script on what we've all come to expect from AI.
The main idea here, it's kind of like a force field around your information. Nothing else gets in and your stuff doesn't get out. See, Notebook LM is designed to work only with the documents you give it. That means no hallucinations, that's the fancy AI term for when a model just makes stuff up, and absolutely no pulling from the messy, unreliable corners of the internet. It's just your information and your information alone. And that is the absolute game changer.
But to really get why that's such a big deal, we gotta talk about the problem Notebook LM was actually built to solve. And I'm willing to bet it's a problem every single one of us has dealt with. Yeah, this probably feels pretty familiar, right? We are all drowning in a sea of information. I'm talking about that 100-page PDF you were supposed to read but never finished, or those meeting notes from 3 weeks ago that are basically a distant memory, or what about those research documents that just feel like they're written in another language? The knowledge is there, but it's totally buried. And yeah, those early AI tools, they try to help, right? You'd ask them to summarize your notes, and they would, kinda. But they'd also mix in random stuff from the web, and sometimes they just confidently tell you things that were flat out wrong. That complete lack of trust, that was a massive barrier. So this whole situation led the team at Google to ask a really simple, but honestly a really profound question. What if? What if we built an AI that was literally forbidden from going out to the internet? What if its entire universe was just your notebook? And the answer to that question? Well, it created a whole new category of tool. It's not a know-it-all, it's a know-your-stuff genius, one that you can actually trust completely. Okay, so here's the official breakdown. Notebook LM is basically an AI notebook assistant that becomes an expert, but only on the information you feed it. You upload your PDFs, your notes, your transcripts, whatever you've got, and instantly it becomes your personal genius for that specific material. And this chart right here, it just perfectly shows the core difference. See, Notebook LM is grounded only in your sources. That means it can't guess, it can't make stuff up. Now, other AIs, they're grounded in the entire internet, which sure, is super powerful, but it also means they can just invent information. For Notebook LM, its biggest limitation is actually its greatest strength. So how did this AI that seems kind of limited become such a secret weapon for so many people? Well, it really boils down to a few key reasons, and they tell us a lot about what we actually want from AI. First up, and this is the big one, trust. When you know for a fact the AI isn't making things up, you can actually build your work on top of it. Then you've got simplicity. Its real superpower is taking complex stuff and making it feel simple. The timing was also just perfect. It came out right when everyone was getting a little tired of AI hype, that AI fatigue, and people just wanted tools, not toys. And finally, integration. It just works seamlessly with the Google workflow that so many of us are already in all day long. So who's actually using this? Well, it didn't try to be for everyone. Instead, it really focused on people who, think for a living. We're talking students trying to wrap their heads around textbooks, professionals who need to analyze reports, researchers sifting through mountains of data, and even creators trying to build out their scripts. And this is where it gets really, really cool. Think about it. A student can take a super dense textbook chapter and just turn it into flashcards. A professional can get an instant summary of all the action items from a long meeting transcript. Researchers can find hidden connections between multiple papers in seconds. This isn't theoretical stuff. It's about getting practical, real-world work done faster. Okay, but this whole thing is about more than just one cool product. The success of Notebook LM, even though it's been quiet, it points to a much bigger trend. It's a fundamental shift in what we might start expecting from all AI in the future. And really, this is the core lesson right here.
Maybe this big race to build an AI that knows everything on the internet, maybe it was a bit of a distraction. Perhaps the real lasting value is in an AI that can develop a deep, perfect understanding of your specific world, your projects, your notes, your knowledge. So here's the bottom line. While a lot of other companies were laser focused on building the biggest, loudest, flashiest AI models, Google quietly built one of the most reliable ones. And in the long run, especially for professionals and anyone doing serious work, reliability, well, it's everything. And that is the fundamental shift we're seeing. We're moving away from an AI that talks a lot, the AI that can write a poem or have a debate, and we're moving towards an AI that actually helps. It's a shift from just being a cool novelty to being a useful tool, a shift from distraction to focus. And so that leaves us with a really big question for the future. What do we actually want from our AI tools? Do we want an all-knowing oracle that has access to the whole internet with all its brilliance and all its flaws? Or do we want a focused, trusted expert that understands your world and only your world perfectly? The quiet success of NotebookLM seems to suggest the answer might be a lot closer than we think.